Hi guys. Okay, we'll give people a minute to come in the room here. We are now live on my cell phone.
Yep, here we are.
And we will. I'll try to read comments from the computer, which is right next to the cell phone. So I do apologize if we're looking to the side instead of the camera. But
shows we're live.
Yep, shows we're live. We'll see if people come back into this room. New live show. Take 2, and it's my broken camera on my cell phone. So apologize for this area over here is kind of fuzzy.
Oh, it is fuzzy.
So, yeah, we got people. I'm going to see if I can.
We got 5 people, at least.
Yeah. Haven't used the cell phone camera in a while on this front side, so give me a second to go black while I try to rub it a little bit. Sorry. Okay. Is that any better? Maybe.
Slightly.
Anyway, yeah, so you guys can hear us all right. This is the old school, first way we started doing live shows.
Fuzzy is fine, yeah, there's not that much to look at anyways.
No, it's not like we have any detailed demos or anything like that. I'll try to keep my head in front of the light, though, so it doesn't
glare. It's a new filter, all the country, isn't it?
It looks dreamy. Yeah, right? That's too funny. So anyway, I don't know if we had any questions come up. What were we talking about? Oh my goodness.
Well, we'd finished up duck eggs.
This means I can't do pictures, but that's all right.
You had some brisket to show that we
did show briefly.
We smoked a brisket last night. We did that for dinner. We had extra people over.
Yeah.
Sort of our first barbecue. Put it on the smoker. Did a nice rub on it. And then it was kind of like a first barbecue cookout. But of course, we had a fire going in the fireplace to get warm. We had a couple dogs over we were playing with, and so that was
yeah. One dog came over.
Made some coleslaw, some corn, fresh,
homemade
quick pickles.
Quick pickles. Corn on the cob. Yeah. Corn on the cob is much better when you have it in the summer.
Well, I got, you know what I was looking for? I was doing a quick stop. I was looking for some corn, and I ran into Aldi's, and they had pre-shucked corn, which is never that good. It was like 4 for $2 or $3. So the price wasn't even that good. But I realized I could get everything I needed, the few things I needed there to finish up.
Yeah.
And
this is funny.
Then I had to run into the local store for something. And, I think they didn't have cabbage. They'd run out of cabbage. Somebody right in front of me got the last cabbage. So they had corn that needed to be shucked like 5 for $2. I'm like, I knew I should not have bought the pre-shucked stupid corn, and it was getting a little older. It was all right. So, you just put your potatoes in the oven. The potatoes, I stuck them in the oven to start because I had smoked the brisket all night, and then 9 o'clock or so, I pulled the brisket off and I threw it in a cooler just to maintain some warmth, so it didn't go all the way cold. It's hard to reheat it properly, and then I threw it back on the smoker on low. And that wasn't really enough heat. Cooked the potatoes. So, cooked them in the oven to start them, and then the last little bit of time as they were near done, I threw them on the smoker while they were resting. So just nothing special. I didn't salt crust them. I didn't rub them with oil. They were just rinsed off good and standard plain baked potato. Because the brisket's pretty flavorful, so you don't need much else.
Thank you, Suburban. Hopefully people will see that. I'm not sure. I'll have to mess around on the computer a little bit and see if I can close out whatever the other one is. We did try to start something to see if we could do it without a third party.
Yeah, if you're seeing that other chat, if you make a note to bump over, we'll try and
Yeah, that would be great. But what I did was end up, I'll see what happens. But it says set reminder on that for that other one. That take 2 didn't work. So hopefully they find this one. Thank you for leaving that note. But technical difficulties with our third-party software, which is the first time
we're waiting for
issue.
Oil and salt. Yeah, I've done baked potatoes a lot of ways. So you can oil them up with any type of oil or a nice extra virgin. Don't go too nice because I think you end up wasting a lot of it.
Yeah.
I find that the skin gets a little soft. It's got a nice flavor. I don't mind it. You can also just salt crust it, which gets them a little crispier, but they tend to it dries them out and crisps it, but it tends to fall off a lot. You can kind of wet the potato before you salt crust it. We had one place where we'd put like a Brittany sea salt or a really coarse sea salt on there, and then we would drizzle a good amount, a scoop of olive oil over the top and kind of drench it. bake it that way, and that formed a crust and helped hold it. That was pretty good. Honestly, wrapping them in foil, which is sort of helps steam it, and then it crisps on the outside. That's not a bad way. Simply throwing them in the oven and actually poking a couple of holes and microwaving them comes out pretty good. The skin doesn't crust as nice. Mm-hmm. Good hot oven. I have places that do them at real hot, 450. Yeah. I think it's hard to screw up a baked potato. You can't overcook it. You can undercook it. There's some nice things you can do with it, but I don't know. They all seem to work pretty good in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other cooking questions for Mike? You let him know. I don't know how many people we lost in that transfer. I think there's fewer people.
Yeah, we lost a bunch of people.
So,
sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
That hasn't happened
Stivers.
in a long time.
Yeah. So
something with the software. Could be our internet connection.
I think it's the software program with issues.
I know with a lot of all of the basketball games are over by now, I think. But when you have a lot of sports activity, it just seems like the internet gets pounded with activity and sometimes gets funny. A lot of people chatting and using multiple devices, and we just can't quite keep up. So and some shops back. We had one other cooking issue tonight at the end of dinner. Had a major problem with our dinner.
Yeah, after dinner.
So our friends were leaving, and Cindy's sister, pine rosin, really?
Huh.
That's interesting. I mean, you've got to like the piney rosin flavor. I'm not sure how many people just aren't.
You just got distracted from what you were saying.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I like it or not. I don't mind that flavor, but I'm thinking
It's
the general
sweet.
population would be a little... May not.
It's sweet in the springtime this time of year.
You get the terpenes in it.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were leaving. Our friends were leaving, and we got distracted with some geese making some noise, and we spent some time outside while they were saying goodbye. And I came we had dishes out and some stuff to put away. Well, I had left half the brisket on the cutting board that I hadn't cut. We'd cut half. We didn't eat quite all that.
That was stupid.
And I'm like, well,
Quinn was outside with us.
I better put that stuff away because it's been sitting out for a while, through dinner. Cut up and put it away. And I came in and I saw some dirt on the floor, and then I saw some grease on the kitchen floor. And I'm looking at the cutting board, going, I got to cut that brisket. I mean, really, where's the brisket? And then I realized put away about half a brisket.
Yeah.
Two huge, the round cut, half of the round cut, and half of the first cut. She put away the entire thing. So let's say it's a 14-pound, 15-pound brisket.
Total.
It loses half of its weight, so you're at 7 pounds. Then it loses some in trimming. You got 5-6 pounds. We probably cut. Yeah. There was 2+ pounds of meat and crust. She ate the entire thing. It wasn't very hot at all. It was cool. She ate the entire thing, over 2 pounds of beef, plus all the salt and seasoning. Totally gone, but a few crumbs. And then she's standing there looking for more.
Yeah.
So she is laying on the couch asleep right now.
Yeah, she's curled up in a little ball back there.
Generally just fine and a little uncomfortable. We gave her extra water, which she hasn't gone for because she will be thirsty.
Yeah, that was kind of salty for her.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about the high amount of protein. She's a dog. There is a lot of garlic and onion granulated, which probably isn't the best, and there's a lot of salt, but I think she'll find water when she needs it, so I'm not too concerned about a health problem. There's no bones, but I was looking for a couple meals out of that, primarily. And
we still have some, but...
A little bit. She ate like $15 to $20 a brisket.
Yeah, silly
Yeah,
dog.
we put a lot of work in. I only make brisket like once a year, or maybe twice a year.
She stole one other time from us. A while ago, she stole a whole loaf of sourdough bread and ate that. And we should have known better. We went out to say bye, and we still had food on the counter. And
we were told when we got her from my sister that
she counter served,
and she really hasn't. She's been really good about it. But that fresh loaf of hot bread, she ate 3/4 of that. I was more concerned about that it was probably pretty hot in the middle.
Yeah.
And this, she snagged each piece, which was large.
Yeah.
She has very gentle mouth. I could just imagine her barely getting it, and
she didn't disturb the knife on the counter.
She flicked it off the counter onto the floor a few feet away. The knife was towards the back. The knife never moved. If the knife had hit the floor and made a big crash, she would have run away. She never would have touched it. In fact, we would have found it on the floor.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted the knife to land on the floor because it could have gotten
Well,
her. But
yeah. But aside from that,
Yeah.
I'm sure she would have disappeared.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't have to even when you have a Chihuahua. Well, the visiting dog was actually a rat terrier, so tiny 7-pound dog, and no, it wouldn't have happened with that dog either.
she does have her stomach tacked, so yeah, a large meal might increase the risk for bloat.
The bread, not necessarily. Bloat in dogs is different from bloat in other animals and farm animals. Bloat in dogs is to do with the dog stomach is not attached anywhere, so it can flip. And they don't actually know what causes it to flip. Sometimes it's a lot of
meal
activity.
related can be, but yeah, it's somewhat chance.
Yeah.
We've had bloat with 2 dogs.
Yes.
One we saved and one we lost.
Yeah.
So.
But her stomach is tacked in place, so it can't do that twist, and that's bloat in dogs. Is that from that? Yeah.
Yeah, we lost Jello. We lost from bloat a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Boomer, our Saint Bernard that we had bloat at about 3 years old, but we caught it really early and took him in for surgery and had his stomach
very
tacked.
expensive, but he was fine after that.
Yes.
So.
He was saved early enough. We weren't home for Jello, unfortunately.
So pudding is tacked. So she has basically a tie between her
stomach and
rib cage or muscles.
The lining of the
is pretty good at
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but bread is hard because you need it's thick and tough, and of course they wolf it down. They don't chew it because they know they're got to eat it fast, and then you need a lot of water to absorb it and break it down. This brisket is so cooked out that it doesn't act like bread, but it's so cooked down it's pretty tender. I guarantee she wolfed it down and massively fast.
Yeah.
And she's not a heavy eater.
No.
So hey man, she's sitting there.
That's probably 2 days worth of food in weight, or 3.
Oh yeah, she's not gonna eat tomorrow.
No, so. She might. She at least not until the end of the day, but yeah. After she had geriatric dental where it died from bloat because the stress from it. Yeah, I mean, there's really a lot of theories about bloat and what causes the stomach to flip.
Stress, activity
after meals,
how they eat, what they eat. We've did a lot of research on it, especially after our Saint Bernard got bloat.
Yeah,
and then and people are very adamant about you need to have a grain-free feed, you need to have the bulls right, and we did a lot of work and tried to find, and even in the
scientific literature, it's all different theories.
It's circumstantial. There's probably things that make it worse.
It's not the same thing for every dog.
But a lot of it's like factors where muscles are doing things and they're kind of vibrating or they're contracting and relaxing, and you get them all to do the right thing at the wrong time.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a Dr. John song, and eventually, the wrong things happen all at the right time. It matches up, and you get a flip, and it's just
Yeah. So dogs with deep chests do have a higher rate of bloat. Great Danes are one of the highest.
I think number 1 or number
1
2.
in 5 Danes, if they're not tacked, the stomach's not tacked. Other giant breeds can have that problem, like our Saint Bernard did.
Wolfhound Saint Bernards.
And of the small breeds, the Dachshunds also have a fairly deep chest for their body. We have a
so they can tack the stomachs if you get it, and it's not extremely expensive.
Yeah.
So if you're getting large dogs regularly, it might be well worth your.
That's a mosquito. Why do we have a mosquito?
Is it a gnat or a mosquito?
That's a mosquito.
I don't know if
it was 30 degrees outside.
It was a mosquito, and I got it.
Yeah.
It was 60 earlier in the week.
Yeah, it was.
Any bulldogs? Well, I don't know if they're at a high risk. We've had a bunch of bulldogs in our family. We've never known that to be a problem. But yeah, if you're really concerned and you have that type of breed, they can be tacked. It's a couple $100.
Yeah.
The most expensive with big dogs is
the anesthesia.
Anesthesia, which they can sometimes get you up for like $600 because they do it by weight.
Yeah.
So if you can find a place that'll do the anesthesia, you're doing something else with anesthesia, and you can get them to tack the stomach. The actual tacking is very quick, safe, and inexpensive.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely certain breeds that are higher risk for that, but so a whole lot of excitement around here.
Besides, so we're disappointed because we're really looking forward to I have the homemade coleslaw. We have homemade a really almost like a ciabatta sourdough, and I was like, that's going to be perfect sandwiches or some other stuff. So.
And I had pictures of that. So
hash, I've got some sweet potatoes laying around. Brisket sweet potato hash is really good.
Yeah, we did put pictures of the sourdough, I believe, on the Part-Time Permies Instagram if you want to check it out. If not, I'll put it on tonight. But
I had already leaned out all the heavy fat too, so
Yeah.
it's pretty much. Well, there's a little bit of fat on there.
So, any other cooking questions for me, guys? It's
You
getting
look
late.
very sleepy.
Yeah, she is sleepy. Her stomach's overfull.
You look fairly comfortable, but a little uncomfortable.
Looks like you two may be making 2 briskets this year.
So the deal was, not only do we have people coming over, I was looking for what we were going to cook, and a hint, at least our our Costco frequently has briskets, whole briskets, so they're 15 pounds, and what you can do, and so they tend to be at a good price. I think it was like $3.29 a pound, so it's basically cheaper than ground beef. Whole, you have about a 50% loss in moisture and fat and trim, so you have to balance that.
Yeah.
But they were also selling prime, which they do frequently. So it was prime beef at $3.29, and that's a great. It wasn't grass fed or something really awesome. I've had grass fed brisket; it's amazing.
Yeah.
But this is pretty good.
Yeah. So Carrie asks, ever cook with goose eggs? Our geese are boys, so we don't get goose eggs.
Yeah.
Have you ever cooked with them though?
No.
No.
It's hard. They don't give a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
We have a couple people we could get a few if we
Yeah.
needed them. Somebody was talking about cooking a goose egg recently,
Huh.
in the last week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can get them, but no, I've never cooked with them. Pickling, yeah, you can pickle. All right, so you can pickle anything that's a cruciferous vegetable, anything that basically has sugar or starchiness. So all of your broccoli family, most all of your roots,
Yeah.
and you can.
Well, like the carrots and radishes.
Yeah,
You're not gonna
that
do the potatoes.
I guess you could pickle potato, but I'm thinking it's gonna come out awfully
Have
bad.
to cook it.
It's gonna break down.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nasty.
Um.
Yeah, and again,
Yeah. High breakaway. Well, we've had
London
problems.
broil, which is typically so London broil can be 2 things. It can be
there you go.
flank steak, or it could be top round cut thick. Traditional London broil is usually top round cut thick, which is really really good. But commonly it's sold in grocery stores here as flank steak, which is also good.
Yeah.
If you can get top round, thick sliced top round slabs for $2.99, you're doing really good. Buy it. Buy as much as you can pack away in the freezer reasonably.
Curie just scrambled 6 goose eggs to feed her dogs. Don't know what else to do with them. Probably do anything
I'm
you
sure
do.
you
With
can, yeah.
Scramble them for yourself.
You can definitely scramble them. Now, some people, the whites versus the yolks, but when you scramble it, it becomes more of the same.
Yeah.
So making giant omelets, frittatas, quiche.
That would be good.
But if you just have too many eggs around and you're not going to hatch them, then probably giving them back to dogs or cooking them and give them to pigs or back to your birds is not a bad idea.
Tim says you can use 1 for anything you need, 3 chicken eggs for.
That's about it.
About right. Yeah, and size.
So a chicken egg is 2, and a large chicken egg is 2 1/4 ounces. Just under an ounce is the yolk, and the remainder is the white. That's a large egg.
Yeah.
You can look up ratios online for small, medium, large, the peewees, which nobody gets, but medium, large, extra large, and jumbo. The yolk to white ratio you need to know, and the total weight. You can extrapolate that into your other eggs, and for the most part, you can cross them based on those ratios. Although there's a slight differences, it should work on almost everything.
Never need 3 eggs.
On a 3-egg omelet, it's perfect. That's your classic full-size omelet is a 3-egg omelet.
That's a lot. It's very filling.
Yeah, I mean, it's your Sunday morning omelet or whatever, Saturday morning restaurant omelet is typically, some people do a 2-egg, but 3-egg.
No gander, so no fertile ones. Yep. That does happen. Justin had a taste test with the goose egg versus chicken egg. It did.
Was that a while ago? Because I think
it was a week or so, week or two ago. Yeah.
Made a quiche, good idea. Yep.
Too much food with 3 eggs. Yeah. Unless you have someone you can split it with.
Yep.
But yeah. Any other?
Make egg drop soup.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make egg drop soup.
So you scramble it, or the aglio limone, which is the either Greek or Italian chicken broth and egg drop, and you stir it in, sometimes a little rice or whatever. That's pretty nice. And then fresh lemon juice. That's really, really tasty, healthy soup.
And Bee Havens, that we have not. That is a good idea to do a video with different pickling combos.
Yeah, you know who? So the Pratts.
Pratts do a lot of.
We're doing a lot of pickling. They hated pickles. They're pickling everything under the sun.
Yeah.
Over the last year, it's pretty funny to watch them. We really don't like pickles. Oh, we'll try a few pickles.
Oh, we like those.
Now, other fun thing you can play with, so you can play with the vegetables. You can play with, so we did a quick pickle, cider vinegar, salt, pinch of honey or sugar. I don't think I put any honey or sugar in there. Um, and then you can, and then you can put in all kinds of flavoring. You can use curry, you can use ginger, you can use turmeric, you can use dill, you can use garlic. That's where the world just goes crazy. And so these are all quick or vinegar-based pickles, and then you can up your sugar up or down if you like them sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's be creative. There are some that aren't great. If you really want to get serious about pickling, Asian, Japanese, and Korean. Koreans probably do the
Hi, 13
as
minutes.
wide a variety of pickling as anything,
Yeah.
because you start out your meal with a whole bunch of little
Little
dishes, most of them being pickled or fermented as the beginning to your meal, and they're amazing. Once everything from salty to funky to sour to sweet
to spicy.
to very spicy, and it's really really good. Most of them are
How
really
do you
good.
make egg drop soup?
Egg drop soup. So you typically use a chicken base. Although I will tell you the secret to, I forgot I'm looking at the.
You're
TV
looking at the
screen.
screen instead of the
I'm
camera.
looking like this. So
Yeah, I know. That's right.
So traditionally, Asian chicken soup uses a lot of feet to get the collagen and a nice clear broth. Sometimes it has some pork bones. That's how you get that flavor that's sort of unique. It's got a little bit of pork bones in it, rinsed, blanched pork bones, blanched chicken, and they only cook the stock at a heavy boil for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It's not the long stock. If you want to get into that, why you have that clear sort of unique thing. But to make an egg drop soup, once you've got your soup base, whatever you want to use, you can do two things. You can either kind of heavily scramble your eggs so it's mixed together, or you can break them up and just kind of scramble a little bit so you got some white and yolk separate. You bring the soup not to a heavy boil, but just to a simmer where it'll maintain heat, but not boil. And then you stir it, and you get a whirlpool going, and not too fast because it'll tear it all apart. And you pour in the egg, and the egg will then, as it drips in, it will stretch in the whirlpool, and it will set up, and that's your classic egg drop. Now, it's pretty much the same for the Greek and the Italian versions can be done that way. The other thing you can do is you can sort of emulsify it, and you can pour it in fast where it'll come in a little more integrated, or you can mix with a little heavy cream. If you mix heavy cream and egg together, it's a liaison, and you can get a very thick. You can get you can thicken the entire liquid with a decent amount, and there's sauces that are made that way: chicken stock, egg and cream. Now, I think the Greek soup is most of the time is thickened that way. It's less of it, so it's more soup based, but it thickens the entire thing. And then you use a fresh squirt of lemon juice, because if you think about it, egg and cream is very heavy; it sticks to your palate. The lemon juice, the acidity and the tartness helps free that up, so it gets a nice flavor, and that's how you can make it. And then if you use the rice, or you have some rice starch, it even continues to make. You can make it a very thick, and sometimes you see the Greek style; it's very spoonable.
Yeah.
That's how they're doing it in general. But you can look up recipes.
Do you like to rinse your pasta after cooking?
Generally, you should not rinse your pasta after cooking, because you have free starch that's sitting on the outside of it, and you want to use that to continue to finish thickening your sauce and bring the whole thing together. Yeah. If you're going to have to hold it and cool it, then if you can lay it on a sheet pan and you can get it in a place to cool down out on a counter for a couple minutes, and then into a refrigerator without heating up the refrigerator too much, that's the best, because the starch will cling to it. And then when you reheat it, not into water, but if you're putting it into a saute pan and you're reheating it in your sauce, that works the best.
You often put olive oil over your.
You can oil it a little bit after it starts to cool to keep it from sticking. Now, if you're going to have to put it in a big tub, you may have to cool it down with water to rinse it. It's not the end of the world, but ideally you should wait for it to be al dente or just before al dente. Take it out of the water, transfer it directly to your pot or to your pan with your sauce, and then actually keep a little bit of that water if you need to splash a touch of that salted water in, both to season and to
start
to release. Well, if the sauce is too thick, it'll It'll thin it, but you do have some starch in there, and it'll bring it all together. And you cook out from a little before al dente to al dente in your pan if you have the ability to make a small enough portion, say at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't put oil in the water.
Yeah, oil in the water works great for spaghetti to keep it from sticking when you're doing like 20 or 30 pounds at a time.
If you're doing small
But
batch.
ideally, you should not, because the oil coats the dry pasta, keeping it from sticking, but it also clogs the pores and the ability for the water to easily penetrate the starch, which is the whole point of cooking it. So, commercially, when you're doing a lot, if you have to, it's fine. It works for especially sticking together stuff. But ideally, no. Don't add any. You can just salt your water, no oil. Add your oil at the end.
And someone was saying, did another batch of pickled eggs and beets today. And I'm not sure if Tammy's question
I like
applies to
pickled
it.
beets when they're put in, or pickled eggs when they're put in with the pickled beets. Yeah, adding the scallion into your soup as garnish,
into
especially,
soup.
is very important. That fresh green onion scallion top, the flavor is totally finishes it. Yep.
Okay. Salt preserved egg yolk.
Yeah, they're nice. They're fun.
We haven't done it on.
We have not. I have recipes to do that. I've definitely we haven't done it here. So it's a combination of salt, but it's usually salt and sugar. It's a preservation, and what it does is it dehydrates, so it pulls out the liquid.
Mm-hmm.
You set it on, and eventually they get kind of when you can handle them, you turn them over, and then you can lightly salt them. So they just kind of set up. You can heavily salt, more heavily salt them, leave them for a longer period of time, and they'll actually firm up. So not only will they draw out moisture, but you'll chemically change the protein by adding all that salt and sugar, and they'll bind up. And you can take a grater then, for the last one, and you can take a grater like a microplane, and you can shave these seasoned, intensified, because you've taken out the water, intensified yolk. And people like shave them over salads or shave them over pasta. That's a great thing to do with a duck egg, maybe a goose egg, to really, if you have extra ones, to really experience, the abundance of the yolk. So
We're making people hungry.
yeah, I'm pretty full. We ate a lot we went to brunch this morning too.
Yeah.
We had pizza, and then we went to brunch. We had made pizza
Last night.
It was good. We ate quite a bit. Then we went to brunch this morning. Late morning.
Tired?
A little bit.
I'm
And then we had a kind of a 6:00 dinner, but we had this big brisket dinner. So we have had sort of like a holiday weekend because of people being here. It was sort of ate like it was a holiday. It was a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So her helped to make chorizo while she was on spring break
love
from
chorizo,
culinary
yeah.
school.
Oh,
It was
chorizo is fun.
so much better than store bought. Need a better
KitchenAid
grinder.
is a real darn pain. We've talked about grinders before. Ideally, if you can find a grinder that is at least 1 horsepower, that would be best. And if you get a horsepower and a half, that's even better. The larger you can justify that you're going to use it enough and meets your budget, it will be able to grind faster and cleaner and bigger chunks and more accidental, silver skin material. The KitchenAid grinder is very slow. I have a 1500 watt. It's like a half horsepower. It's also slow. I'm looking for at some point to get a bigger one. So you want to look for a 22 size head. If ideally, so there's 12, 22. KitchenAid, I don't even know what it is. It's not.
Yeah.
And then 32. 32 heads really into commercial. It'll move fast, but that's if you're doing whole animal. You're making a large amount of sausage, and you need that. Otherwise, a 22 size head is fine.
I'm tired too.
Popcorn for supper.
Bombs to bushel said pickled quail eggs in a couple days. Any preferred
Pickled quail eggs are
ingredients?
good.
Ingredients for hot and spicy pickle.
Something spicy. Pepper flake, cayenne.
Pepper flake.
There's lots of good hot peppers. Pickled quail eggs are good.
Just hot peppers.
Yeah, there's so many ways to go with it, but
Yeah.
whatever your preference is.
Do you have any suggestions? A couple different ways to go?
Regular old Italian pepper flakes. I kind of like the idea of using something like, wonder if you could pickle them using some sriracha, because I like the garlic aspect of sriracha. And while sriracha is pretty hot, it's not
not
screaming
overpowering.
hot. I mean, it's definitely on the hotter side. But I think pickling, because it's already fermented, pickled, I think integrating sriracha, and I don't know what the right level would be, but that could be really tasty. Probably make them lightly pink too.
Okay. What am I doing wrong? I have a horrible time removing the membrane from the back of the slab before cooking.
Is that with pork ribs? Is that what we're talking about? Suburban pork ribs. Oh yeah,
yes.
right on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. So competition cooking, they say that lining on the inside of the ribs that goes from the cavity, basically the organ cavity. They say for competition you should remove it. People say that the flavor and the smoke penetrate better when you remove it. I am not convinced that it makes much difference, honestly. So if I'm doing cases and cases for 4th of July and I got like 12 cases of ribs to do, they are not coming off. If I have one case of ribs, we're doing something really special, like we're dry rubbing them, we're not sopping them in all kinds of sauce, and we're going to smoke them out the whole way, and I might think about it. The only thing I can suggest is try and peel back a little corner make sure they're fully thawed because they do not peel when they're frozen. Make sure they're well chilled. Peel a corner back using a knife or whatever to flick up a side. Grab a towel, a cloth towel, maybe even a paper towel. Try and pinch that silver skin with between two sides of the towel, and use that as grip and pull back on that.
Yeah.
It should be able to pull back most of it as a sheet. It will drive you crazy if you're doing more than a few. It's.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of debate: low and slow, fast. Don't ever boil them. I've had them good every way.
Yeah.
But if you're doing competition, you do need to pull them off. But use a towel.
Yeah. Carrie says she was given backstrap from a deer tonight.
Yeah.
How should she cook it?
Backstrap. That is your loin muscles. That is in many ways your premium, most tender, generally fairly mild and flavorful. So if somebody really likes you if they give you the backstrap. That's one of the few pieces people.
Or they don't know how to. Or they don't.
Or they don't know what
it.
they gave you. My neighbor gave us most of his backstrap because I don't know, because
he likes his sausage.
Yeah, and and we probably dry weight and stuff. But I'm like, you don't have to give it. I'll take stew meat. It's fine because we'll make good stew out of it. So it's basically your sirloin and your ribeye and stuff all combined. It's super lean. You could sear the outside and roast it whole. Would sear them in a near smoking hot pan. Say, are we buffering?
A
little bit. I would sear them in a cast iron pan or heavy steel pan or a real hot barbecue. Well seasoned. Get them good and crusty, but I like cast iron on that. And keep them rare to medium rare if that's the way you like it. I recommend do not cook them past medium for sure. They'll dry out. There's really no fat in them. So keep them pink or more than pink, and they'll be excellent.
So it looks like
treat them like a filet mignon, basically.
On our computer now, we're on our cell phone, so the cell phone is hard to tell. But on our computer, we're buffering even more again. So if someone can comment whether it's a big problem or just slight on their end, that would be great. Because I don't know if it's our internet or if it's our.
I'm thinking we're having pretty bad.
Might be our internet, but our phone is not using our. Oh, maybe it is using our internet. It might be connected to Wi-Fi.
Somebody cuts the backstrap off and eats it raw. I don't know if I could do that. All right, so it would be a good piece if you wanted to cube it up small and do a real quick hot saute and eat it, or if you want to cube it up super small or chop it up and make a tartare. That would be the piece you want to use. Now, you want to make sure it's super fresh. You trust that the deer is of premium quality, and there's always a little risk, but generally there shouldn't be a high risk. Yeah, and you can mince it up or super small dice it, and then you mix it with your mustard and your Worcestershire sauce and your raw egg traditionally. And then you do it with your capers and your onions. You make a little patty, and so it would be appropriate for tartare.
Yeah. So I just refreshed my computer screen because we're getting a lot of buffering on my screen.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're into raw at all and you want to experience it, in many ways, I think venison and wild game, if you took it down, the environment of where the animal was and the behavior of the animal suggests that it is healthy. there's a good chance it's as healthier than your beef, commercial beef supply, which we do tartare. Whole muscle in general is fairly antiseptic, so as long as you don't have parasites, that's the concern when you're eating raw. What you can do if you're concerned about parasites is freeze it. Look up, there's charts online, it's called certified pork or certified meat, and it will give you, based upon how cold your freezer gets, it'll tell you how many days you need to hard freeze it to kill any parasites. So if you have like a minus 30, it's a few days.
Yeah.
Our regular freezers display like 30 days or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd recommend you go through that. Make sure you do a parasite kill. It won't dramatically change or damage the meat. Thaw it out. You're not going to get mad cow from it. That's not a problem.
That's a neuron issue, not a meat issue.
There is an issue in Michigan and in parts. We have a wasting disease, which is similar but different. It is a prion protein,
and it's in the neurons again. It's so you don't want your like spinal cord to get contaminated.
But actually, this wasting disease that we're seeing a lot of in Michigan, just the last few years, they will test. If you go to your county this fall, they actually recommend you please bring a sample. They will send it to testing. They will let you know if it's bad. It causes a premature death. And it is a similar type of disease that is transmittable to the deer. Right now, it does not affect humans. They are concerned that it will at some point possibly affect humans. So they're very concerned about, the chronic wasting. It's in quite a few states. It's management of deer in Michigan. We don't hunt deer, but our neighbors do when we eat it and, paying attention. So it used to be, what was it? You wanted to kill the young ones, I think it was, and let the old ones continue, especially the old bucks, continue to procreate because you assume them to be really hardy. I think that's what it is. Now everybody's going out and killing all the old ones because they're trying to selectively manage and take it out. And so the DNR and people are working really hard to figure out the best selection process. They're trying to map where they've had cases. They may go in and do, heavier kills if they have to, and of course they're now doing, I think, free testing so that they can let you know so that you can dispose of it. It's only affecting a small population, but it's a really, really major concern, and they're concerned it's going to blow up or cross vectors into humans. So freezing will not affect that. That will not be cooking. Freezing doesn't take care of it.
You just have to avoid eating neural tissue, central nervous tissue, which is mainly going to be your spinal cord tissue.
Brain, spinal cord, all that. So, so I wouldn't eat those animals if you had them. So the freezing is great for parasites, not appropriate for these neural things. Why they're so scary is that cooking and freezing
doesn't kill it. So freezing, not for you. Want my meat cooked.
Well, it is good to cook the meat at some point, And so the meat is fairly unacceptable. The other thing is you want to sear. Sometimes people do like a carpaccio, where you sear the outside, season it heavily, herb, salt, pepper, whatever. You sear it in a cast iron all the way around for flavor and
leave the inside
to kill any of the bacteria. And then you slice it thin by hand or on a slicer, and you just have a 1/4 inch rim where it cooked. And then the rest is raw. And you'll see that with beef, and that can be very tasty, and that's the next step from eating a full-on raw.
I like medium rare.
I've had tartare a few times. When it's done with super premium, really good meat, tartare, and made properly, it can be quite tasty. If it's not done well, or it's just, and always use your freshest fillet. It's terrible. And not good for you.
Okay, guys, it is getting late. Bums Bushels is running, and have a good night there. But it is, I know we went over, we almost always go over, but since we are, I also wasn't cutting it off because of the fact that we had the issue.
We had a good
but I do have to work tomorrow, so
we've got busy weeks.
I'm thinking we should probably cut it off now at this point. And we've had busy weekend and busy week. And next week, Sunday, we're going...
I got to teach her class this week.
Going across the state and coming back. We will have our live show next week as well.
Yeah, we're going to family for the day on Sunday.
Having big family pictures.
First time ever.
Yeah. With everybody together, all the cousins and everybody. So we will definitely see you next week with more information, more Ask the Chef. we'll see what we can do during the week. I'm not sure,
We're
but
trying to plant. We've done a little plant. You did a little planting last week.
yeah,
We're trying to get more starts going.
I'm a little behind, usual.
Yeah, I got projects going with teaching, and I got a little side project going,
Yeah.
a research project with a group, and we're getting busy. Farmers market opens in about a month, so it's go time. A lot of stuff to get done.
So we will definitely see you guys next week. I got to figure out how to turn off
Bottle
the
feeding a
feed.
fawn.
Oh, that's
Nice.
interesting. Yeah.
Probably not eating that one.
No, probably
Taking
not.
care of it. That's good. Too.
Yeah. But so we will definitely see you guys next week. I think I'm